Starting.
Yes.
All right. Everyone, it's gone live. It says Merritt live.
I'm actually double checking on YouTube and I see it live. So
All
there
right.
you go.
All right.
Now keep an eye and make sure it doesn't go away.
Sarah,
like it did
the
yesterday.
front seat of a roller coaster is the way you want to sit.
Incorrect, Len. Incorrect.
It is the front. And I
didn't
understand why until
but no, because then you hang and you don't get the good whip.
No, the hang is what's the best.
No, the hang is what ruins it.
The hang, you're hanging there for like 5-6 seconds.
No.
And there's the anticipation.
You want to basically go up and be like, vroom, like it's better in the back.
I disagree.
It's like being in the back of the bus. I don't know. I just don't want the screaming. If they could do like 2 seats in front of me and 2 seats behind me without screaming, I'd be happy.
This is a no screaming ride. Anyone who screams on roller coasters, please get off and wait for the next ride.
Put a sock in it. I paid money to ride this ride, not listen to you holler.
I'd love to go to a roller coaster amusement park with you, Roger.
And
have you yell at and chastise kids who are yelling. And
he doesn't chastise. He just suffers quietly.
Shut up back there.
I have a kind of a request.
Yes.
So your show is usually 30 minutes or so, I'm guessing. Right?
30 minutes.
I have a hard out at 2.
Okay. Yep. In fact, we can go ahead and get started a little early.
Why not?
Okay, great.
Will that mess up your timing, Roger?
Starting probably, but
just
I could go a little over, but
-3 for everything.
Yeah, I'm just gonna take 3 off. Here, I'll do it.
No, yeah, okay.
Hi, Nicole.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Well, it helps me too. So.
Hello. The front, the way to go. Way to be.
How's the city? Is it cold, hot, loud, dirty?
San Francisco, well, it's always dirty. It's bright and sunny right now, which is kind of a change. Yeah.
Same here.
Okay. Cleveland, San Francisco, Los Angeles. I don't know. I haven't really.
Okay, so Roger has you. We will introduce ourselves, Nicole, and then we'll introduce you.
Good.
Sound good?
Cool.
Okay, let's make podcast.
Still live. It's all streaming. Good.
Sarah, would you do the honors?
I will.
3, 2.
Daily Tech News Show is powered by you. To find out more, head to dailytechnewsshow.com/support.
This is the Daily Tech News for Friday, May the 4th. Be with you, 2018 in Los Angeles. I'm Tom Merritt.
And also in Los Angeles at Studio Feline, I'm Sarah Lane.
And from my art cave in Lebronto, I'm Len Peralta.
Ooh, Lebronto.
Sounds good.
I've heard tell of it. Also joining us today from San Francisco, senior editor at Engadget, Nicole Lee is back. Hi, Nicole.
Hello, I'm from the amazing conference room that I am here.
Oh, I've heard tell of it. Our producer, Roger Chang, is here as well. Roger, how are you?
I'm good.
That's excellent. Well, let's start with a few tech things you should know then.
Vine co-founder Dom Hoffman announced his follow-up app called V2 will be postponed for a, quote, indefinite amount of time because of logistics and funding issues. Hoffman already runs an early-stage startup called Interspace VR and says he doesn't want to split his focus.
Germany's Heise.de reported that Intel CPUs are affected by 8 vulnerabilities, the site called Spectre Class. Intel said it is finalizing mitigations for all 8, one of which was discovered by Google's Project Zero. They're going to reveal details about that one on May 7th. The site also says that AMD processors may be vulnerable. They're looking into that as well.
Magazine subscription service Texture, which Apple purchased back in March, will shut down its Windows app at the end of June. Interesting because Texture's Android, Amazon Fire, and iOS apps still supported. But it appears that development of the Windows Store version in particular had lagged for some time, according to lack of updates and a lot of negative user reviews.
In the fine tradition of causing market confusion and bankrupting otherwise useful terms of their meaning, AT&T has begun marketing 5G Evolution to customers in Austin who have the Samsung Galaxy S8 and S8 Plus. 5G Evolution is neither 5G nor an evolution. It uses 4x4 MIMO and 256 QAM to get more speed out of LTE, a 4G technology. It's also something T-Mobile has offered since 2016.
I mean, it's sort of an evolution, right?
An evolution for AT&T, I suppose. Yeah, you want to be charitable, which I obviously didn't, but maybe we should. Let's talk a little bit more, Sarah, about Instagram.
Let's do it. TechCrunch reader Janady O'Crane, hope I got your name right, noted that Instagram added the ability for some users to add a credit or debit card. What does that mean? Well, Instagram conferred to TechCrunch it's testing native payments for booking appointments such as restaurants or salons. Riley is one of the first partners. Rezi is one of the first partners, rather. You know, it's funny. When I first read the story, I was like, what? You know, like, I don't want to send Tom a payment via DM on Instagram. Like, I have so many other options to do that. However, when ads are forced in my face, as they are on Instagram regularly, and I've stopped trying to hide them, I just deal with it now. I get why this would make a lot of sense.
It's not person-to-person payments. It's, I'm making a reservation. Let me prepay for it.
Yeah, it's a business account. It's something that a business account could add the functionality to. Exactly.
I guess it is weird though. Like, does Rezi do that a lot? I don't use Rezi that often, but the few times I have, I haven't had to pay. I just pay for the meal at the end. So, Nicole, what do you think of this? No, nothing. Oh, I think maybe we lost Nicole.
Oh, we may have lost Nicole.
Oh, I'm back.
Okay. Hey.
Yeah. So, in terms of the Instagram payment, I will say that it really works with the ads. Like, if you get an ad for, a bag or a pair of shoes, you can just tap on over and off you go.
Yeah, buying what you want. Although it does seem like this new one is more for the services.
Yeah, absolutely. This is for services, but I can imagine eventually the rollout for actually buying the thing that you're seeing.
Yeah. NVIDIA announced it's canceling its GeForce Partner Program after all the backlash. If you remember, AMD had blog postings about how it was creating new brands to get around it, that its partners had complained about restrictions. NVIDIA claimed it only wanted partners to define one brand as exclusively powered by GeForce. NVIDIA says it didn't object to similar AMD-only brands or separate mixed brand offerings. In a blog post, though, NVIDIA wrote, "Rather than battling misinformation, we have decided to cancel the program."
Okay.
Yeah, so this is a lot of, you could decide what side of the fence you're on, but a lot of people are still accusing NVIDIA of trying to steal all the good brands and make sure that their partners used NVIDIA in there, forcing AMD to come up with new brands that might be seen as a little bit less valuable. I don't know if you've been following this, Nicole, but I don't know that there was going to be a consensus agreement in the industry about this, so probably smart for NVIDIA to just back out.
Yeah, might as well just do it now instead of just hanging around.
Take your branding deal and go home. Because yeah, I mean, I see where AMD was coming from. It's like, look, if NVIDIA comes in and pressures partners to take their existing brands and make those NVIDIA only, sure, NVIDIA is not saying it's exclusive, but it does force us to be on a different name, which is going to cause some market confusion. I think in the end, it would have ended up balancing out and people would have realized, oh, Radeon's in that brand now. And maybe it even would have been better, like NVIDIA says. But honestly,
I don't think it's a battle NVIDIA would have won. And they might as well just cut their losses and not generate more negative press.
Well, I think that's the calculus they came to, right? Is they decided, you know what? This is making more problems than it's worth. So let's get rid of it. And that's what they did.
The Strategy Analytics smartphone model tracker is about to make a few of you mad, so sorry in advance. Services has new research that says that global smartphone shipments reached 345 million units in Q1 of 2018, with Apple's iPhone 10 in the top spot as world's best-selling smartphone model. SMT says the iPhone X's popularity is due to a blend of good design, sophisticated camera, extensive apps, and widespread retail presence for the device in the marketplace, which accounted for 16 million units shipped in the first quarter. Xiaomi's Redmi 5A and Samsung's Galaxy S9 Plus were the world's top-selling Android smartphone models. And
don't forget, the Galaxy S9s only came out at the end of the quarter. So you don't even have a full quarter of sales for Samsung here. This is actually a really, really good showing for Samsung, given that it was only a partial quarter. So expect the Galaxy S9 not only to pass the Redmi, but pass a bunch of these iPhone models as well. It'll be interesting to see in a full quarter-to-quarter comparison with the iPhone X later in its product cycle, whether Galaxy S9 actually passes it there. But it does give the lie to all that hype, Nicole, that we were hearing, like, no one's buying the iPhone X. Apple's doomed.
Yeah, I mean, that's always... like every year, I feel like this is same old amount. Apple's doomed because its iPhone X's not doing as well. I mean, that's good. I mean, I still think Samsung will probably win out in the end. We'll have to wait and see. You know, as you say, Galaxy S9 just came out, so I kind of think Samsung will still top it, but we'll see.
I think the other thing that's interesting about this is we're talking about Samsung, Apple, and Xiaomi all in the same breath. Like, yeah, those are the top 3 brands of phone in the world right now. And for a while, Xiaomi was the darling bargain price version. Then it was in trouble, and now it's back with a vengeance.
Yeah, so Xiaomi is an upcoming brand. I mean, they're the #1 brand in China, I think.
Yeah, they just retook the top spot. You're right. Yeah, I think that's right. I think they passed Huawei. Yeah. So, yeah, I look at this. I think these numbers are very interesting in a lot of ways. And it's not so much just, is it Apple or Samsung at the top, but just the fact that we have consolidated the smartphone market to the point that it is pretty much 3 brands and 2 operating systems right now. Well, let's talk a little bit about Defense One's report that the head of the U.S. FBI's Operational Technology Law Unit, speaking at a conference in Denver, described several incidents in which criminals used unmanned aerial vehicles. You'll hear them called quadcopters or drones, but I like to say UAVs because drone can mean other things too. And we're talking about quadcopter type stuff, UAVs. Anyway, that criminals have been using them to combat law enforcement. So the anecdotes told in the speech involved several, including the most dramatic that claimed a gang executed a series of high-speed, low passes at the agents in the observation post to flush them out. The group of UAVs was also used to stream video of the agents. That's the one you're seeing in the headlines, like, a swarm of drones was used to attack FBI agents. It does sound like it was a pretty dramatic incident. Don't know how representative it is. The group of UAVs was also other incidents involved using UAVs to see who came and went from police departments. So simple surveillance, observe gaps in security patrols for robberies, and even one example where they were used to monitor the Australian Port Authority workers so that smugglers could cause a distraction if they noticed the workers getting too close to containers that contained contraband. So if somebody would look like they were about to inspect the wrong crate or the wrong container unit, I don't know, they'd faint and be like, oh, come over. I'm sure it was more sophisticated than that. But yeah, this is getting a lot of attention because of that headline of swarms of drones. How much of a problem do you think this really is?
I'm assuming they're cloaked somehow. I'm assuming you can't see them. I mean,
I think you can see them.
Can you see them?
Yeah. I think they're just, they dart in and dart out.
Wow.
Or they're high enough that you don't notice them. I don't know.
Oh, maybe that's it. I mean, that's the only way I can see this being as effective as they're describing.
Yeah, because you're right. Anybody who's been around a quadcopter knows they're not terribly silent yet.
Right. You can see them. They're very clear in the sky. So
and they make a high-pitched buzzing sound that's quite noticeable.
I mean, it's very interesting because one could foresee a future where these are kind of your lookouts, right? You just kind of send one up whenever. I see less of the swarming and trying to flush out federal law enforcement and more of like keeping tabs on, where the police are in the neighborhood so I can be on the opposite side of the town or of the block. Because I mean, it's that's a behavior that's like, centuries old, but now you have a wireless flying technology that allows you to be more efficient at it, which might be.
And the point of the speech was to make the argument that laws need to change to allow law enforcement to combat this kind of behavior, which sometimes makes me skeptical of like, oh, how common is this really? Are you just using it to make your case? And the case may be valid. I'm not arguing against it, but
it's definitely something that I think law enforcement would like to see new legislation on, and it's something that I think people should be very like what you essentially said is just be very skeptical, but also very hesitant to say, all right, now we're going to ban everything because the police have told us they can't do their jobs because these are things are flying around. And of course, in any open society, you got to weigh the difference, the value proposition of, law enforcement with public openness.
IEEE Spectrum reports on an FCC filing from a company called PointView for a satellite called Athena that could deliver internet service 10 times as fast as SpaceX's Starlink. SpaceX began launching satellites in February, while PointView plans to begin launches in early 2019. IEEE Spectrum notes that PointView's FCC application was written by the same law firm that Facebook uses to file its FCC applications, and has the same corporate agent in Delaware as several Facebook subsidiaries.
Mm-hmm. They also talk about how the proposal notes that there would be a backup server located at a sort of indistinct office park in Northridge, north of LA, which happens to be where Facebook is rumored to be creating its space-based technology recruitment arm.
Indeed it is.
All indications point to PointView being Facebook's satellite internet arm.
If all the things that Facebook is, it gotten in hot water for lately, the idea of it providing, low orbiting satellites around the world for people to have internet is not one of the things that gets me up in arms. I'm like, okay, do it. Great.
I don't know if I want Facebook as my ISP though.
Well, no, but we also have lots of choices compared to people who have zero. We have a lot more choice than a lot of people do, Tom. That's true.
We will if there's SpaceX and this and my local cable monopoly. That's true. But yeah, choice has always been one of the things I've argued needs to be increased in the United States. So I guess that's a way of pushing me in to say, okay, fine, make Facebook an ISP, because if they're a space ISP, that's more choice. So, hey folks, if you want to get all the tech headlines each day in about 5 minutes, be sure to subscribe to Daily Tech Headlines, available on the Amazon Echo, Google Home, and the Anchor app, and at dailytechheadlines.com. So Disney launched an update to its Star Wars Jedi Challenges game. They launched it back in November. It was showed off at CES. It works on Lenovo's smartphone-powered Mirage headset with a matching lightsaber controller. And this update, Nicole, allows local multiplayer mode called Lightsaber Versus that lets you duel your friends in the same room. Now, you tried this out, and I guess both players would have to have their own Mirage headset and controller, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like a one size fits all. Like you both need to have your own separate headsets and controllers.
But before you could only battle online or in-game stuff. Now you can actually play with your friend. How was it?
It was pretty interesting. So the idea behind AR and the Jedi Challenges thing in general is that when you're wearing and you're seeing virtual objects in front of you, you're still in like the real world. So like these virtual things are sort of overlaid on top of your living room or your office or whatever. So with the battle, you actually see the person like right there, your friend or whoever sitting right there in front of you, waving their lightsaber hilt around. And it's kind of like a fun arcade game. I would sort of describe it as like you're in an arcade together. You're just sort of playing swords with your friends. I don't know, but with a video game setting. So there are actual like rules and points, and they're sort of battling for, and you're blocking shots, and you're blocking, you're sort of dodging left and right to sort of block their shots. So it's a lot of fun. It's I don't know if it's like the thing you would play like all day long or anything, but it's a good like it's a good party game. It's a good party fighting atmosphere kind of thing.
Do you feel like the game at least mirrors how a lightsaber fight would play out in an actual Star Wars movie in any sense, or is it just kind of something else? I mean, are you getting points for doing stuff that seems
right? My big question
like
is,
what
how
a
do you know
Jedi would do
when you got blocked, because there's nothing actually stopping you.
Right. So there are visual cues. So for example, if there's a sign that says block, then you block. If there's a sign that says dodge, then you dodge. It's kind of like following. It's kind of like DDR as a revolution, but like lightsaber version of it.
LSR.
You're sort of matching patterns as you're fighting around, and the person that matches the patterns better will win eventually. So, and then your hit points go down as the other person that goes better, and that kind of thing. I mean, it was fun.
After a week of Facebook announcements and getting to play this, how are you feeling about augmented reality? I know you wrote an article that says Facebook seems like they're winning the augmented reality war right now.
Yeah, I mean, they're very different kind of things. One is the AR headset model. One's like a physical pair of glasses that Magic Leap's working on, and all those companies are working on. And then there's like the phone stuff, which is, as we've seen with Pokemon Go and Snapchat selfie filters. And that's like the entry level, right? That's like the gateway drug of augmented reality.
And some people point out it may not actually be augmented reality, but it gets people used to the idea.
Right. So the idea of like seeing digital things on top of the real world is like, oh, that's kind of cool that you can see, virtual cartoons on your desk and that kind of thing. And as I sort of mentioned in my piece, like it seems super trivial right now, like, face mask and selfie filters, like what can whoop-de-doo, right? But I think the idea here is that that's just the beginning. I guess that's sort of like get people used to the idea of AR, and that eventually they'll sort of like, okay, if you're interested in this, maybe like think of having a 3D object in your photos, and that's kind of cool. Or maybe, measuring things is the popular IQ.
Yeah, that's one of the big Apple demonstrations.
The big Apple ones you can put in your room. So I think the reason why I think Facebook has a good head start, because you already have a Facebook app, you already have an Instagram app, you already have Messenger probably. I mean, if you're a Messenger user anyway, so like you already have it in your hands, you already installed them. So it's like a matter of like introducing small little like AR bits into your everyday use, and that way you associate Facebook with AR. So that kind of like the association. That's why I think they have a really good head start. But of course, it's not just that, right? There's more than that. But the interesting thing, I was asking a guy, and he's like, don't you think AR is pretty trivial? It's just like face mask and selfie filters. And he said, well, if you remember the iPhone, when that first started, it was just fart apps and like pouring beer from your phone.
True.
Like, okay.
Well, okay.
I guess.
Not really true.
I mean, I don't know.
The App Store was plagued with fart apps at one point. I do remember.
At one point.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand that, but that still doesn't really answer the question of like, at this point, it's mostly just those trivial use cases. We'll see where it goes from here, I guess.
Yeah. One of the things that did catch my eye, and we talked about it when we talked about the F8 announcements earlier this week, was Facebook's AR Studio, unlike Google or Apple's efforts, is designed to be very user-friendly so that you don't have to already be a developer to put together some of these things. Yeah,
so that's the other advantage that Facebook has, is that AR Studio, from what I understand, is like very like, if you're an artist, or if you're a designer, like a graphic designer, you could easily just jump in, start playing around, and you'll be able to create a fairly decent sort of AR creation within like a few minutes or something like that. So that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, which I mean, and that's how the App Store took off, is they made it easier. It's not as easy as this, to be honest, but they made it easier for people to develop apps for the App Store, which is why you had so many fart apps, because they were easy to make. And so I get the parallel, which is Facebook could say, we've now made it easy. Now let's see what people come up with. But just because you haven't had anybody come up with something yet doesn't mean that they will.
Yeah.
And I actually believe in augmented reality. I think we will find some really cool uses for it, but it remains to be seen.
All kidding aside about, Jedi fights and whatever, it's like, I actually think the exercise version of it's very compelling to me. I'm not so crazy about the idea of AR, VR for a lot of gaming reasons that excite other people, and that's fine. But something where I'm like, was it good exercise? Like, is this like my new hip hop class? Like, I will do this. Like, I actually think that there's a lot of real world use, particularly in your own home where you don't need a lot of space, that I would take advantage of, and I think it'd be really fun.
Yeah, I don't soul cycle anymore. I force cycle.
It was definitely a workout, like not just doing this, but like you're ducking, you're dodging, you're moving left and right into space to avoid being sliced at, and that could be an exercise routine made out of it. Maybe a slice left once, maybe a whole like pattern.
Yeah. Well, you compared it to DDR, and a lot of people felt that way about DDR back in the day. So
hey, Dance Central on the Wii, that was a party. I mean, that
you literally could sweat to the 80s.
You could sweat to the 80s with your friends, dancing very badly. I don't really know where we're not still doing that, but it was fun for a time. So yeah.
All right. Well, let's see what the experts in our audience have to say in the mailbag, Sarah.
Let's do that. First one comes from Vince. He says, in regards to why AT&T might be blocking that 1.1.1.1, it most likely is a network configuration. When I worked at another large telecom, we would configure the management subnets of a lot of things with that 1.1.1 as a common gateway address. The reason we used this range was that it was just junk, and we couldn't overlap IP ranges at customer sites without causing them routing problems. So since customers use the entire spectrum of addresses under RFC 1918 addresses, we didn't have a lot of choices without burning valuable public addresses. So this is less of an issue now with better virtual networking technology, but AT&T is big enough with enough legacy gear. It's a very real possibility.
I'm curious why Cloudflare's supposed ability to handle all the junk routing is disrupted by that. But thank you for the insight, Vince. That definitely helps us to understand that a little more. Also, from a person who is not officially speaking for Amazon, says not likely that 3D body scanning would be involved in any consumer apparel shopping product. But machine learning estimates of body shape based on a few flat photos and time trends are getting surprisingly good. This kind of research needs a corpus of real-world ground truth data, and regular scans are the obvious way to obtain that. So not only do we have a listener who's awesome at making puns and seems to maybe have some inside information about this, but it kind of bears out what we were thinking is they're doing the body scanning to build a database, but that wouldn't be how you would take advantage of this as a customer.
Nicole, are you an online shopping maven in any sense? We were talking about this yesterday and the fact that it's so hard for a lot of us to do that because we just don't know how things are going to fit.
I usually try things out first, and then if I have my size, then I'll buy them online.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that this is the problem that Amazon wants to solve.
Yeah, they want to be able to say like, "Oh, we bet this is going to fit you." We
don't want you to go to Macy's and maybe buy it there if it happens to fit well.
We can take a couple of pictures of you and make it fit. If they can fulfill that promise, that's pretty big.
I would buy it because I'm, being a short person, I would buy it. Without having to like hem my pants every single time.
Feel your pain, sister. Feel your pain.
All right, let's check in with Len Peralta, who has been illustrating during this entire show. Len, what do you got for us?
Well, the jury's still out for me as far as a good lightsaber game. I've tried stuff like this before, and I feel like it's always gone short, so we'll see what happens. But this is a great image because today, of course, is May the 4th be with you. And that is the name of this piece. It's someone, and I have to say, I should have drawn Nicole doing the review, and I apologize. It's one of those things you're drawing, and suddenly you realize that probably something else should have happened. But anyway, he's saying, it feels as if I cried out at once and then suddenly silence. That's how I'm going to start my VR lightsaber review. What do you think, Nelson? Nelson? And of course, Nelson is in the bottom, who has just been beheaded by a very dark Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Darth Vader also looks very svelte.
Yeah, you know what?
He's been working out.
He's been
doing Force cycles.
I tried to show that off because he has been working hard on it, and you know,
The keto diet. Hey.
Yeah. This is the danger of wearing a headset is you might not see an actual Sith come into the room and decapitate your friend. So
that's right.
That's why AR is better, because you see him coming.
Exactly.
That's right.
Well, folks, go check it out. LenPeraltaStore.com.
Yes,
Excellent.
please. Yeah, and also just commission me too. Do that as well.
Go commission Len right now. Don't wait.
Don't wait.
Speaking of things that make things better, Nicole Lee always makes our Friday better, or any day she decides to join us. Nicole, we know you've been busy at Engadget. Let folks know anywhere in particular you'd like them to keep up with your work.
So we have a really very, very busy week ahead of us. There's Microsoft Build next week. There's Google I/O next week. There's a lot of reviews coming up from me as well as other people. So stay tuned. I'll be tweeting about it as well. Twitter.com/Nicole. So yeah, lots of stuff. Very busy.
Yeah. What is it with Microsoft and Google scheduling those in the same week? We need to talk to them about that.
They're just really being difficult.
Yeah, they really are.
Yes.
Thanks to everybody who supports this show and makes it possible. That's how we're able to do the show, is that you get some value out of it and you give some value back. The main way to do that is patreon.com/DTNS. We have some perks for you. At $1 a month, you get a whole expanded show that includes everything you get here on Daily Tech News Show, plus pre and post show of us just talking about some expanded technology topics and other stuff. So if you enjoy hearing us talk about things, you might want to check that out and get the feed at patreon.com/DTNS.
Excellent. Our email address is feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. If you want to give us feedback, questions, comments, all that good stuff, please have at it. We love your feedback. We're also live Monday through Friday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, 2030 UTC. And for more, find out at dailytechnewsshow.com/live.
We'll be back on Monday with Lamar Wilson. Talk to you then.
Woohoo!
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
Good show and good art.
Oh, thank you so much.
Loved
Very
it.
good. 2030 UTC, very international. I like that.
Thank you. We try.
It's very, 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 very global.
The only problem with that is we have to remember to switch it once a year when daylight saving.
That's right.
Daylight saving.
You know, it was so funny. The other day I was having a conversation because time zones are very important to me. I don't know why. It's just one of those things. And I mentioned something about Atlantic time. And my friend was like, what's weird about Atlantic time? It's just an hour ahead of Eastern time. And I was like, only half the year, though. And the other half, it's 30 minutes ahead of Eastern time. And he was like, mind blown.
Well, did you hear today about the North Korea and South Korea? North Korea was like 30 minutes behind or something for like all this time.
Yeah.
And now that they're like becoming one Korea or something or whatever, they're gonna change their time zone to like being 30 minutes ahead.
Oh, North Korea has agreed to unify its time zone.
The same time zone, the same time zone as
That's
South
big. They used to be on the same time
interesting.
zone even after the war, and then North Korea changed.
Yeah, they changed.
Just to be difficult.
Just to be different. I don't know.
But there are certain places, like there's a place between Russia and Nepal where it's like if you go east, you actually lose time. Like it's, time zones.
Yeah, there's some other half-hour time zones.
Yeah, they get strange where you're like, on a map, this makes no sense.
And then like Arizona, Indiana, I don't think it does it anymore. But Arizona used to.
And Hawaii.
Arizona doesn't have daylight
Arizona.
saving. So it
Arizona,
flips back
not
and
all
forth.
of Arizona, just like some of Arizona.
Oh, I thought it was all of Arizona, but some of Indiana. But maybe I'm wrong about
one
it.
one or the other.
I thought it
But
was
Gary,
all of Arizona,
Indiana
but I don't know.
is on Central Time because it's a Chicago suburb. So even not all of Indiana is on the same time zone. Time zones.
Time zones.
How do they work?
How do they work? All right, I gotta go.
All right, thanks, Nicole.
Have a great weekend, Nicole. Really good to see
See you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, Australia has some weird ones too, Nth Mike. I don't remember what they are, but when you go, like, there's the time zone that Sydney and Melbourne and everybody are in, but then there's some weird time zones, and you go west.
Oh, there was a really good article on Quartz that I read about
time zones.
World weirdest time zones.
Hey,
It was a link bait thing that I got right into.
What are we going to call this?
Oh, here we go.
Oh, Roger, we were not ignoring you. We can't hear you for some reason.
Oh, you know why? Because I muted myself. All right. Okay. Lightsabers with friends. No?
Oh, like Words with Friends?
Yeah, or you could do Feel the Disturbance of the VR Force.
Ooh, that's good too.
It's pretty short. There's also Lightsaber Revolution, and pardon me, May the Virtual Force be with you.
Should it be Disturbance in the AR Force or the VR Force? Because it was augmented reality we were talking
more
about.
AR, yeah.
Feel the Disturbance in the AVR Force.
Oh.
Heart.
I like that one.
That's your fave?
Yes. In between the sneezing.
Someone just sneezed. Bless you.
Thank you.
The Disturbance in the AR VR Force?
Yeah. AR.
Maybe we should just simplify it to AR.
Done.
Done.
Okay, so here we go.
You know, here's one of those accidental pieces of brilliance that happen from time to time. I did not realize when we picked Nicole's story about the lightsabers that it was May the 4th.
Oh my god!
That's why I wrote it at the top of the
show.
That's why I wrote it at the top of the show. May the 4th.
Yeah, no. And then when you wrote it at the top of the show and I said it, I was like, oh. And then when Len was like, oh, I'm drawing a Star Wars thing, I'm like, obviously we always meant to celebrate May the 4th. This topic and this art. That was the plan from the beginning.
No, that's why I thought that you did it.
The lightsaber thing was great.
And I'm sure you guys realized it well ahead of me, but
that's so funny.
That's great when just being causes the right thing to happen.
Well, you can't help but be involved in Star Wars.
I mean, how much of a Hallmark holiday is that? May the 4th be with you.
I don't think it's a Hallmark holiday because it's kind of come from the bottom up. It started as just a bad pun, and more people have started celebrating it, and now Lucasfilm is on board. But that wasn't always the case.
Yeah,
I see. I guess. I mean, I'm trying to think of any other holiday that's based around a commercial product.
Valentine's Day. Oh no.
Christmas.
Well, just one. You mean
Halloween?
One in particular.
Halloween.
Arbor
Day. You know, trees weren't a thing until they started marketing them.
St. Patrick's snake driving service.
We drive them straight out of your house into our van.
Yeah.
This is very interesting.
Are you still reading about time zones?
I am.
Okay, lay it on us.
All right. So we'll just start here. The biggest non-international dateline time gain to be found is along the 76-kilometer border between Afghanistan and China, which gains or loses you 3.5 hours at once, depending on from which direction you're traveling. That is because despite crossing 5 standard time zones since the beginning of the Communist Party rule in China in 1949, all of China has been standardized to Beijing time, which is UTC +8.
So wait, the entire country is +8 no matter where you are?
Right. So depending on where you cross the border between the two countries.
And so when you get that far west, you should be about 2 hours off in time zones, but China only has one time zone, so you're not.
Right.
Huh.
Russia has been on permanent daylight savings time since the Soviet Union introduced it in 1930.
See, I'm all for that. Just make it permanent.
Interesting.
Daylight time,
don't change time.
Just
don't mess with time.
Keep it light.
Mess with dark forces.
Yeah, let's eat outside.
Don't mess with forces you can't control.
Yeah. Don't mess with time, man.
And it goes on and on. It's just
time is actually not a real thing.
It's a flat circle.
Time is a emergent property of consciousness.
Time is actually like a tree with rings. That's how I see time.
Well, the way physicists see time is as irrelevant.
That's how my
I keep
kids
reading
see
more and
my
more
time.
articles where they're like, yeah, time really doesn't matter when you really get down to the physics of how things work.
Oh, here's another good one. Another anomaly in India, which became one single time zone for the entire country. However, the 7 sister states of the Northeast that were semi-isolated from the rest of India after the partition sit 30 minutes behind Bhutan and Bangladesh, lying to their west.
Yes.
That means they're east of countries that are ahead of them in time zones to the west. What?
Wait, this is why we're not reacting, Sarah. This is blowing our minds. Like, I can't quite wrap my head around. So it'd be like if I went from
it would
the
be like
Eastern
you
time
saying,
zone
like,
to the
Sarah,
Central time
Sarah
zone.
in California, I'm in Illinois. Sarah's ahead of me in the time zone because of like political stuff that happened, a decade or a century ago.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Where is that again?
In India, in the northeast of India.
Northeast. Oh, that part of India.
I love.
Oh.
That's such a corn state, India.
Corn
What?
state.
I don't feel like India has a lot of corn in its time.
Indiana. Sorry.
Got it.
Bad
Mhm.
joke.
Right.
Very India. Never mind.
I mean, do Ohioans have a thing with Indianans?
Oh no, we love Indianans.
Especially when they stay in Indiana.
Chicagoans have a thing with Indianans. And the rest of Illinois.
Yeah.
That isn't Chicago.
No, our beef is with Pennsylvania.
Oh, really?
Pittsburgh, that whole
All right.
or Michigan, I guess.
So there's not a Cleveland-Cincinnati thing? Is that a thing?
Not really.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I guess no, not really.
And Wisconsin, Captain Jack 913.
Yeah, that's true. No, Captain Jack's right.
Is it because Wisconsin does all the milk? All the
No,
milking?
it's because all the rural areas around Chicago have
Are in
beef.
Wisconsin.
Chicago, because Chicago has all the beef in the Chicago Board of Trade.
My favorite thing in the outlying Chicagoland area is the brat stops, where you get gas and a bratwurst. But the first time I ever saw it, I read it as brat stop. So I'm like, is this like a place to take your like unruly child because you're on a road trip?
No, it's just because Chicago people are all so stuck up. They gotta have brat stops.
Yeah, no, but honestly, like I laughed, and everyone, friends from Chicago kind of looked at me like,
what is wrong with you?
you know what a bratwurst is, right? And I'm like,
Bratwursts are not that funny.
That's not what it looks like. That's not what this whole thing looks like. It looks like a brat stop.
Oh, but say what you will about Chicago, their bratwursts are amazing.
They really are. Chicago's a lovely city. One of my favorites.
I will have to
Excellent
try
bratwurst,
one next
delicious
time.
pizza.
I like
Just-
the pizza.
just
Deep
great.
dish, yes.
Yeah, the thing though is their deep dish pizza is best eaten like a slice a week because you shouldn't really eat. You know what I mean? It's just so heavy.
Why do you
Big
think it's
for
the city of
yourself.
broad shoulders?
Right.
Like pizza.
Boy, deep dish, man. That sounds great right now.
Doesn't it though? Oh,
And I already feel bloated like thinking about eating it.
It is. It's too much.
it's
Taste of
my
Chicago
it's my
is
favorite
my
kind of pizza, and I don't even like.
What?
I don't even like.
Wrong.
I don't even participate in the like. Is it the Italian style or New York style or
New
deep
York.
like
I
whatever?
love New
Like
York style
I don't. I like pizza, but I mean a good deep dish because I feel like it's like.
It's a casserole.
That'll last me a week.
What is New York style? Is that where you
It's a
fold it over
thin-
like a
the thin
sandwich?
crust where you have to fold it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's definitely
I,
thin
I like that too.
crust.
I like all
Here's the
pizza.
thing.
I like
There's
it.
no bad pizza. We don't need
no.
to fight.
No,
We're
Cracker
going full
crust,
circle
New
here,
York
Tom.
style.
all pizza's good. Yeah.
All good. All good. It's all
We should
pizza.
get into
like
an argument.
Domino's.
We should get into an argument about it. That's what it should be about.
Like
Yeah.
shake. Wait, you know what? Every
You
time I
know,
bring up rounds,
Your
round
enjoyment of
table
pizza is based on the experiences you bring to it.
No, it's based on my taste buds.
I'm looking at it from a different perspective. Tom. I'm coming at it from a different
I
perspective.
guess there's certain people who just they don't like the thick, the deep dish thick crust style is it's doughy,
I definitely like it.
and some
I
people just don't like that.
it's good.
Well, you need it
love
doughy because you don't want it to. You don't want all the sauce and everything else to break through it.
It's doughy because it's an homage to the people who made it.
Who brought their experiences.
Jeez,
and
Tom.
God, now
I'm gonna make a pizza in my own image.
What are you saying? I'm fat.
You ever
I
use,
get some
you ever,
pizza.
any of you ever make your own pizza using Boboli?
Yes.
No.
Back in the day.
I think I've done it
Back
once.
in the day, there was definitely some bubbly experiments going on in the Lane household.
I tried it and I was like, no, I'm just gonna order these in. I guess no success, no success.
Do you guys have a chain called Jets Pizza out near you?
No.
No.
That's a good pizza. It's not necessarily deep dish, but it's thick. Thick pizza.
See, I was gonna have a cheeseburger after the show, and now I'm like, ugh, I want pizza.
I like. No, it has to be thin. I love thin
See,
because you can
I
have
like a good
different
deep dish.
types of slices. I can eat 3 of those slices.
Poshies. Used to love poshies in San Francisco.
It's like ramen though. Like ramen's all good. Sometimes I might want soy. Sometimes I might want salt. Sometimes I want chashu, but it's all good.
Yeah.
Sometimes
all
I
food
want
is good.
thick. Sometimes I want deep.
Wow, I haven't had ramen in a while.
Ramen's good.
Now I've switched you from pizza to ramen.
Ramen on a
is good.
pizza.
No, I still think pizza sounds really good. I want a deep dish pizza. Where is that in Los Angeles? I don't know.
You know, I know it exists, but I have not discovered the good deep
best.
dish.
I'm telling you, man, burritos and pizza. I have yet to have my
Why?
real staple.
Okay. Someone explain this to me. As someone who's lived in the LA area for over a year now, I've yet to find a really good good Mexican restaurant equal that you would find somewhere up in the Bay Area.
Oh please, we've already had this conversation.
We
I told you, just haven't gone there.
I just think but Roger, I get what you're
Two
saying.
in your area and you didn't like them. Like there's plenty of good Mexican restaurants down here.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll set you on the task, Mr. Foodie.
I think, if we had to make a distinction between Northern and Southern California, where, Len, maybe not you, but, the rest of us have lived and eaten probably lots of Mexican food, there's just more emphasis on tacos in LA. And that's cool.
Yeah.
And the tacos are great. But sometimes I just want a big, heavy burrito that I feel really bad about afterwards.
It's hard to find the Mission style burrito.
Yeah, that's what I want.
And apparently,
a lot of
pizza is in Hollywood and Echo Park. That we don't have it on the west side.
See, that's So it's not that they're not here. We're just not near them.
Oh,
Do you
someone,
guys
someone
have
said
arepas out there?
to try dough box.
Say it again. What?
Arepas? They're like
Arepas.
yeah, it's like
Arepa the Rappa?
No,
Arepa. That's
correct.
like Salvadorian, I think.
yes.
Yeah.
You have that stuff?
Yeah. You see them around.
We have Salvador.
Oh yeah. You know what I like? I'm not sure if it's Salvadorian or Guatemalan, but pupusas.
Pupusas are.
Those are arepas.
No, they're
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean Salvadorian,
Yeah, we have a place.
and
like
they're
that near us, they're good.
pupusas are really good.
Thankfully, there's one really close place that does great pupusas.
Yeah, we have a place like that near us called Barroco, which is Salvadorian, Peruvian, maybe. I don't know. It's excellent, dude. Too much, man. Whoa, good food.
Yeah,
Good food.
I mean, give me a tortilla and cheese. I'm good to go.
We also have really
Everything
good,
else is extra.
here
what I ate for
in
lunch.
Cleveland. We have really good barbecue joints, like they brought Texas barbecue, and it's authentic, good stuff. Oh my gosh, so good. Good brisket, the best. So good. It's the closest you can get without going to Texas.
We have a few decent barbecue places out here, but none of them are like Texas.
No.
It's just not the same.
Have you ever been to Baby Blues? People love Baby Blues.
Baby Blues is good.
Yeah.
Baby Blues.
I've never been there,
I
but
can't remember the other one. It's right next to a car wash.
Is that a barbecue joint?
Baby Blues.
yeah.
Is,
It's it's Tom and my part of town. Something called next to a car wash.
I used to have a good fried chicken place until they moved.
It's like Bubba's or something. I don't know.
Oh yeah. I know it.
I'm
I
still
don't-
on the
so I
deep
don't-
dish pizza though thing. I think that's good.
Oh, that sounds so good right now.
Someone in the chat room mentioned
Oh, it's
blue
called
cheese
Outdoor Grill.
deep dish
There's
pizza.
Not bubbly
Blue
at all.
cheese.
I like blue cheese. I like deep dish pizza. I don't know if I'd like those two things together.
Yeah, I'm gonna
A
pass
lot of
on that
blue
one.
cheese.
What is your take on cheese steaks? How do you feel about those?
Oh, Philly cheesesteak?
Yeah.
It's a food
I
I
like
can eat
that.
once a quarter. Like every 3 months, I can have
Yeah,
one.
Roger has a quarterly Philly cheesesteak report.
Love
It's a very
cheesesteaks.
see. There's certain things I can only eat in small amounts due to health, age, mainly health reasons. So
Roger's Philly cheesesteak consumption rose 2% this quarter.
I know
finishing
enough about
98% of the
cheesesteaks
sandwich.
to know that if there's a really good place, because I know somebody who grew up in Philly and really cares about these things, that you say when they ask you with or without, it means onions.
No. Well, the other thing is, do you want whiz or no whiz?
wait,
It's
cheese
cheese
whiz,
whiz.
like
Yeah.
whiz?
Yeah.
Oh
Ew.
yeah, this is do you want it with or without? And that's
Onions.
specifically meaning onions.
What about mushrooms? I love mushrooms.
Mushrooms.
I love mushrooms, but I don't know if that's like,
Yeah. Cheesesteak
had
with mushrooms,
sacrilege.
man. That's the way to be.
I've had many good Philly cheesesteaks in my life. The best one I ever had was in Philadelphia, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I only had
Which
it
one
once.
did you go to? Did you go to Pat and Gino's or did you go to the?
I should have known
Well,
you'd ask me
there's
that.
another
I don't
place.
remember.
I went to the other place. I did not make it to Pat and Gino's.
All right. On that note, any final food words for our audience before I stop?
I hope
the stream?
everybody has a wonderful,
Dinner.
well.
Goodbye, live video. We're sorry we made you gain weight.
Yes. Take some antacid. You'll need it.